We're under a KREM 2 weather impact alert. Hot, dry, windy conditions creating critical fire danger.
I would consider Dave my closest friend in the department.
Tonight, new information about the surviving firefighter who was shot in an ambush while responding to a fire on Canfield Mountain last week. How Dave Tisdall is doing and what those close to him are saying.
They may seem cute, they may seem cuddly, but they are very unpredictable.
That's the message tonight from Idaho Fish and Game after they say they had to euthanize a grizzly bear. Why they say the situation could have been avoided. Good evening and thank you for joining us for the KREM 2 Night Report. I'm Mark Hanrahan. We start tonight with a KREM 2 weather impact alert. We are in store for potentially the hottest day so far this year. Tomorrow, add to that some expected wind this week and fire danger is certainly high. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo for more on what we need to know. Jeremy?
Mark, for starters, it's warm right now. Believe it or not, we still sit at almost 80 degrees across much of the region, even this late at night. Quickly fall into the 60s if you move off to the north, but stay in the 80s out in central Washington. We're going to hang on to a good chunk of that heat, and for that reason, we're under a weather impact alert for tomorrow and Wednesday. Hot, dry, and windy. We have red flag warnings in place on the lee side of the Cascades all the way through Spokane County into northeast Washington and then all the way down to the south. Wind will gust at 25 to 40 miles per hour, most of that being in the afternoon and evening thanks to this frontal boundary that's going to work its way in. We will start to see some of those impacts, I would say, later tomorrow afternoon. A bulk of that wind holds off until it starts moving in. So think later in the day and then getting worse as we move into Wednesday. 96 tomorrow does make it likely the warmest day we've seen so far this year. 88 on Wednesday, then back to 80 by Thursday.
That sounds good, Jeremy. We'll check back in with you later in the broadcast. Tonight, things are improving in the fight against the Aubrey fire burning in northwest Spokane near the Bull and Pitcher area. Evacuations have been lowered. And today, one of our crews got a tour of the fire line and talked with a park ranger about the tough terrain firefighters were up against when it started.
In a very short period of time, had to evacuate our two largest campgrounds at Riverside, and we have limited staff on weekends, so it was a scramble for us to get everybody evacuated and safely out of our park.
Level 2 Get Set evacuation still in place for the area, including Riverside State Park. The fire is estimated to be at 40 acres in size. The cause is still unknown. Also tonight, fire crews getting a better handle on the Seagull fire burning southwest of Spokane near Bonnie Lake. It's now 93% contained. That fire burned around 700 acres over the weekend. Evacuations were reduced to level 1. Officials say smoke from that fire will be visible for the next couple of days as fuel continues to smolder. Fire officials say this fire was human-caused. Exactly how it started, though, remains under investigation. Well, tonight we are getting an update on the Coeur d'Alene firefighter Dave Tisdall. He survived last week's ambush shooting while responding to a fire on Canfield Mountain in Coeur d'Alene, where two other firefighters were killed. Tisdall remains in stable condition in the ICU at Kootenai Health. He suffered a single gunshot wound to the back. For the first time since the shooting, we spoke to some of his fellow firefighters about what Tisdall means to them.
I would consider Dave my closest friend in the department. The cool part about Dave is I think there is a long, long line behind me of people that would say the exact same thing.
Coeur d'Alene Fire says Tisdall suffered a collapsed left lung, damage to his clavicle, several shattered ribs, and spinal swelling. Crews say he can't move his legs right now, but they are hopeful that will change when swelling subsides. His team says Tisdall's efforts to alert other firefighters about the gunman saved lives that day. And celebration of life services are planned for the two firefighters that were killed in that ambush. The Coeur d'Alene Fire Department will hold two celebrations of life. A ceremony on Thursday will be dedicated to Coeur d'Alene Fire Department Battalion Chief John Morrison. Another memorial on Friday will honor Kootenai County Fire and Rescue Battalion Chief Frank Harwood. Both services will take place at the Hagedon Event Center in Coeur d'Alene. They are not open to the public. Just head to our website, KREM.com, for other ways to send condolences to the families of the fallen firefighters. New tonight, wildlife officials are describing why they say they had to euthanize a grizzly bear in Idaho after it happened last month near Yellowstone National Park. And officials say the bear became food conditioned. While it happened across the state, KREM 2's Cody Proctor found out there are also concerns in North Idaho. Cody, why is that?
Well, Mark, the reason there are concerns here in the Panhandle is because it's one of the other areas within the state where grizzly bears are for sure known to be. When it comes to grizzly bears, it's best to keep your distance.
They may seem cute, they may seem cuddly, but they are very unpredictable.
Idaho Fish and Game says it can also be deadly if the barrier between humans and bears disappears. That's exactly what they say happened in Island Park, not far from Yellowstone National Park. Late last month, Idaho Fish and Game, in cooperation with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, euthanized an adult male grizzly bear. Fish and Game says the bear became conditioned after finding food in garbage cans and breaking into vehicles storing garbage.
Any time a bear receives a food reward of any type, it's a reward, which means the bear wants more of it.
That desire, says Fish and Game's Panhandle regional spokesperson TJ Ross, ended up costing the grizzly its life. Since North Idaho's home to about 50 to 75 grizzlies, Ross says people living alongside them can take steps to prevent situations like this one. Some recommendations include locking up used barbecues, putting out the trash the morning of garbage day rather than the night before, and, surprisingly, avoid putting up bird feeders during the warmer months.
That's an attractant for bears. Birds have plenty of food options during the warmer months. If folks want to use a bird feeder, we highly encourage them to do that during the winter months when bears are hibernating.
For people out camping and hiking, Ross says be sure to never hike alone, make noise while out on the trail, and avoid bringing food into your tent.
That's ringing the dinner bell for a bear. And
instead, use bear-proof containers or properly hang your food from a tree. In the end, remember this.
if they're recreating in North Idaho, they are in bear country.
Having some issues with Cody's mic there at the end. We apologize for that. Meantime, WSU police are warning visitors to not poke the bears at the university's Bear Center. The warning comes after campus police received reports of visitors poking bears with sticks and branches. Interfering with research animals is not only harmful, it's also illegal. Injuring a research animal is a Class C felony, punishable by up to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. Well, some good news for fishermen and women. Idaho Fish and Game is stocking 150,000 rainbow trout across the state this month. They're doing it to give recreational fishing a boost. We have a full list of which lakes they are stocking over on our website. Just head to KREM.com. In our ongoing Boomtown series, we track all the growth happening across the region and its impact on those of us who live here. Well, tonight we are learning more about Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown's new initiative aimed at building more affordable housing. KREM 2's Connor McAvoy explains her plan involves cutting some red tape.
I'm standing here at Liberty Park, where Mayor Brown addressed the community with several proposals aimed to bring in more affordable housing in Spokane.
Who's here for that goal of 22,000?
Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown says she wants 22,000 additional housing units in the city by 2046. In her press conference today, she laid out a series of proposals she says would make housing more affordable, getting the city closer to that goal. It's part of her Home Starts Here initiative. The proposals include waiving general facility charges, updating current development city code to reflect the housing market right now, and establishing a permit fee deferral program for affordable housing. She says permit fees, while important, can also create issues.
They can be a barrier when a developer is putting a project together and needing to put those funds out there before they even have their housing up and going.
Another proposal looks at expanding the use of the Housing Equity and Attainable Residence Trust Fund, or the HART Fund. That includes bringing in city council members to consult on housing development sooner and creating deadlines to help with state funding match opportunities. The mayor's plans to address housing have the support of former City of Spokane Housing and Human Services Board member Barry Barfield. He's now working for the Spokane Homeless Coalition and says many people he's helped could use more housing options.
More housing in Spokane is needed, absolutely, as is more housing in the state of Washington and in the country.
He hopes Mayor Brown's proposals become a reality and there are more places to stay in Spokane.
Housing supply makes us a stronger Spokane, and we take the all of the above approach about getting there.
Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
City Council recently passed.
Still ahead tonight, a potential new lead on Travis Decker, the Wenatchee dad charged with killing his 3 daughters. Authorities say he may have been spotted in a different state. And we'll hear from one man who survived the devastating floods in Texas, why he believes God and baseball saved his life.